Despite its flaws, the G4 Plus was quite successful, continuing the legacy of Moto's very popular G line. Now, with the G5 Plus, Lenovo Motors aim to address most of the flaws from the G4 Plus, on paper at least. So, is this a phone that's worthy of your time, attention, and more importantly, money? Well, that's what we aim to figure out in today's video. But before we do, if this is your first time here or in case you just can't remember, my name's Ash, this is C4D Tech, and you're watching our full review of the Moto G5 Plus. Let's get started. So first, let's start with the build and design. To the front, on top, we've got the sensors, earpiece, that also doubles as a speaker, the only speaker. Then there's a 5 megapixel front-facing camera and Moto branding, that's followed by a 5.2-inch display, and we've got a fingerprint scanner at the bottom. To the back, there's a secondary noise-cancelling microphone, a 12 megapixel camera with a f1.7 aperture, a dual-tone, dual LED flash, Moto branding, and I still miss that Moto dimple. That's it, this backplate's all metal. To the right, we've got the power button and the volume rockers. To the bottom, we've got the headphone jack, primary microphone, and the micro USB port. There is nothing to the left and a sole tray up top. This tray can take 2 SIMs and a micro SD card. That means it's a dedicated micro SD card slot. Happy to see dedicated support for micro SD. The G5 Plus is 7.7mm thick, not taking into account that camera bump of course, and weighs in at the same 155 gram mark as its predecessor, despite the smaller display thanks to the use of metal. While I like compact phones, the plastic running around the device kinda brings back cheap Samsung memories and takes a bit away from the looks. Ergonomically, the smooth back does make the G5 Plus more slippery than its predecessor, and the overall footprint isn't even all that smaller given that the top and bottom bezels are now larger. The build is something I really have mixed feelings about. Feels like Lenovo Moto's gone one step forward and 2 steps backwards here. One area where there is a solid improvement though is underneath the hood. The G5 Plus is powered by the 64-bit octa-core Snapdragon 625 chip, the same one that's used on the likes of Lenovo's own P2 and Moto Z Play and even Xiaomi's popular Redmi Note 4 for that matter. Here in India, there are 3 and 4 gig RAM options with 16 and 32 gig storage options respectively. This is a 4 gig RAM 32 gig storage variant that you're seeing me use in the video. With intense day-to-day usage scenarios like gaming, the G5 Plus held up surprisingly well. It managed to smoothly run even some intensive titles with ease. By the way, this display here is covered by Gorilla Glass. It's a 5.2-inch IPS LCD display with a full HD resolution, meaning a pixel density of about 425 pixels per inch. The saturation is a little low, but overall it's decent. The viewing angle's good, bright enough to be visible outdoors. The sole speaker though is underwhelming. The audio output is lower than average. That said, call quality and cellular reception were great. I had no issues with GeoVolti either. Now all this is backed up by a 3000 mAh non-user replaceable battery, and the battery life is good. And that's good with a little asterisk like you see with the advertisements, conditions apply. So let me explain. The Snapdragon 625 has kinda redefined our expectations out of phones with regards to what you can expect with battery. The Redmi Note 4, for example, lasts almost 2 days on a single charge with moderate usage. Lenovo's own P2 lasts over 2 days under similar conditions. If you go in with these kind of expectations, you are probably going to be disappointed. But if you just look at the Moto G5 Plus, the battery life is good. With moderate to heavy usage, you'd be easily able to get through a day on a single charge. And if you need to top up for any reason, the turbocharger is going to help you get back up real quick. So battery life, I'm going to call it a pro. And with that, let's now move on to the camera part of this review. The G5 Plus sports a 12 megapixel rear camera with a f1.7 aperture and dual autofocus pixels for faster autofocus. Now this is the G5 Plus's strongest suit. The camera, under good lighting conditions, performs well. There's a bit of software sharpening, but there's a lot of detail. The color reproduction's good. The wide aperture helps get a nice shallow depth of field for macro shots. The dynamic range is excellent too, and it's not only under well-lit conditions, even under low light, this camera continues to perform. It shines. It should probably end up paying best in class for the segment this year, just like the G4 Plus was last year. Here is a side-by-side comparison of images shot with both the G4 Plus and the G5 Plus. Cropped in, you can notice the better processing and cleaner images. Now, with video, the G5 Plus can shoot up to 4K video at 30 frames per second. The colors are spot on, the detail is there, good footage overall. That said, the lack of optical image stabilization does hurt a bit. Thanks to the dual autofocus pixels, the Moto G5 Plus is quite fast to focus. It is actually slower than the G4 Plus, but not by much, and unless you're comparing them side by side, you aren't really gonna be noticing it. The 5 megapixel front-facing camera does well enough for selfies. It's got a wide-angle lens, meaning you can capture a lot more. The detail is there, the skin tones remain natural. The G5 Plus runs on an almost stock Android 7 Nougat. Very little has been changed. The camera app it uses the Moto camera app and gets features like a dedicated Pro mode, not the depreciated ones you see on the likes of Samsung on their mid-rangers, but a full-fledged manual mode. Other changes include the addition of the regular Moto features, twist to launch the camera, chop to turn on the flashlight, Moto display to give you relevant information when you just pick your phone up, turn off the display with a long press of the fingerprint scanner, etc. Talking about the fingerprint scanner, we've got a new feature this time around, one button navigation. So here you can swipe left to go back, swipe right to open recent apps. Of course, these features can be swapped. Tap once for home, press and hold to turn the display off, press and hold longer for Google Assistant. It's neat. It took me a little bit of getting used to, but since it's optional, I appreciate the inclusion here, especially in light of the screen size decreasing this year. The fingerprint scanner itself is very fast and accurate and posts no issues detecting my fingerprint. Now, overall, in my week with the G5 Plus, the user experience was excellent. Apps opened up quick, the stuttering and heating issues from the G4 Plus are non-existent here. Everything was smooth and fluid. Whether it's browsing, gaming, or checking a mail, the G5 Plus was a pleasure to use. There were some minor RAM management concerns, but only when you push the G5 Plus a lot. For day-to-day usage, it was fine. Now with that, we get to price. The 316 variant of the G5 Plus is priced at 15,000 rupees, with the 432 variant being priced at 17,000 rupees. The pricing seems acceptable given the dedicated microSD slot and the impressive optics here. Of course, I'd be happier if it were priced a little cheaper, but this is not bad. So, should you pick up a G5 Plus? Well, if you'd like stock Android, enjoy shooting great images, then the G5 Plus is a must-buy in this price segment. If camera and stock Android are not a priority, and say you'd value battery life more, then the Lenovo P2 might be something you'd want to consider. If you'd probably value performance more, then you could probably go with the other Lenovo phone, the ZUK Z2 Plus. If you just want to throw your money away for absolutely no good reason, then you can pick up a Moto M. Okay, just kidding. Under no circumstance should you consider the Moto M. I was just kidding. Do not buy it. Anyway guys, jokes apart, these are just my 2 cents. Do you agree with what I've had to say in this video? Let me know in the comments below. If you do want to pick a G5 Plus or a P2 or a Z2 Plus, which has issues getting updates though, but if you want to pick any of that, not a Moto M, but any of that, I'll leave direct links in the description. Use them, it helps the channel out. So vote this video down if you hated it, but if you did like it, turn that up, give it a big huge thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you have already subscribed, do this to make sure you get notified each time a video goes live here on C4E Tech. So thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, this is Ash from C4E Tech signing off. You guys have a great day. Bye bye now.